It's me again. I have yet another gay dating app story for you guys. So I'm curious if you've ever experienced this. This is one of the weirdest encounters I would say I've ever had with somebody. So I wonder if any of you relate to it. I was on Grindr yesterday talking to this guy. He reached out to me. He was clearly looking for fun while visiting town, while visiting Miami. And so we start talking, and the more we talk, I was like, okay, there's some chemistry here. I'd be down to meet this guy for casual fling. And so we agreed to meet outside on the street corner. He was literally a few blocks away. So, you have to do a little sanity check when using these apps, especially Grindr. Let me meet him outside and see what the vibe is like, right? So we meet, and as soon as he approached me, he said, I don't have a lot of time, which I thought was a bizarre thing to suddenly say and to spring upon me. And in his body language, I could read something like some distance or aloofness. So it took me a few seconds to process it. And I was like, okay, do you not want to hang out? And he goes, yeah, I'm good, I'm okay. And he starts slowly walking away. And so in that moment, I was like, yeah, I read the cues, right? That it's not about time. He's just not into it. Something happened here. So I go, it's okay. You can tell me, you can be honest. And he proceeds to keep walking away and goes, I'm good. So I went home thinking like that was a bizarre event and a waste of time. But of course, in the back of my mind, I felt a little bit self-conscious, like, checking my breath, like, do I smell? Do I look weird? I went straight to the mirror when I came home to make sure I didn't look crazy. I'm not like bleeding or have snot hanging out of my nose. And I looked just fine. I looked the way that I look now, except that I just shaved, so I had a beard. And in that moment of checking myself out in the mirror, feeling self-conscious, thinking, what just happened? Do I look crazy? Do I smell? Did I say the wrong thing? I stopped instantly and had an epiphany and thought, I'm doing it again. I'm assuming that because of somebody else's bizarre, irrational behavior, that it must be my fault, that I must have said something, I must have done something. And in that moment, I realized this is something that I do even beyond hookups, dating apps. I've done it with job interviews. In fact, it's been happening recently a few times. It happens with friendship, with family. That my first instinct, for whatever reason, when something doesn't make sense to me, my way of rationalizing it is to think I must be responsible. Like it must be my fault. I must have done something. So I'm looking at myself in the mirror, coming home from what was supposed to be this casual fling with this guy who basically looked at me and went, nah. And I realized that's not a normal way to behave, right? This guy reached out to me. He knew what I looked like. He was interested. Something must have happened that was completely out of my control. Maybe I was too bearded. Maybe I wasn't bearded enough. Maybe I was taller or shorter than he expected. It could also be that he was nervous and that he's not out and suddenly it became too real and he wanted to back out. It could also be that he gets off on stuff like this, that he likes this bizarre power dynamic of making somebody feel rejected. Some guys probably get off on that. It could be a million things, but no matter what, I realized it actually had nothing to do with me, right? In those moments, feeling rejected, we always think it's us, or at least I'm the kind of person who always thinks, what did I do? Did I say the wrong thing? But it could be a million things that no matter what, I don't have control over. Whatever it is, a normal person would have enough empathy or maturity to communicate, not to come up with some kind of lie and just start walking away from another human being that he was about to do something very intimate with, right? So I'm saying this story, hopefully, I don't know if anybody relates to this, but I'm saying this to say that it's interesting that my first instinct was insecurity and my second response was, you did nothing wrong. Why do you assume that you've done something wrong? This was a super bizarre experience. I don't know if any of you relate to it. I don't know if you've ever experienced something similar. Let me know in the comments.